Yeah, that'll be a big visit happening later today. First Lady Jill Biden expects to greet the First Lady of Ukraine here at the White House in just a few hours. But photos released recently show Secretary of State Antony Blinken welcoming the First Lady of Ukraine here to the United States. She will also be giving a speech on Capitol Hill tomorrow to members of Congress, possibly dealing with the call for additional aid to Ukraine. Adrian?
All right, our thanks to you, Tom.
Now, for more on that visit, the Ukrainian First Lady, let's bring in Andrei Dobryansky, Director of Communications for the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
What is the significance of this trip?
Well, first of all, it's always great to get the attention of the world on Ukraine in the middle of everything that's happening. I'm sure that your newscast this morning has just 100 problems around the world, a lot of which tend to rise up because if a war has been going on since February, it's hard to keep people's attention on it, even though we see atrocious genocides, atrocities happening every day. These kinds of visits let the world kind of reset a little, and having the First Lady, because the president is going to leave anytime soon, having the First Lady come is as high a person profile visit you can to the White House as we've had during this entire war.
Now, I totally understand wanting to keep attention focused. There is still a war on. It is catastrophic, more than 5,000 civilian deaths, as we just mentioned. But the United States has also already given $54 billion in aid, and that's in various ways, including $12.5 billion just in weapons. So what exactly is she coming for? And if it's to ask for more, what more can the United States give? Because this, we're showing a full screen right now, showing how the $54 billion has broken down. This is a lot. So to come to ask for more when this is on the table, I think maybe some Americans might get fatigued and say, how much are we going to give this country?
Sure. Well, first of all, you're looking at things that are allocated. So that means that that money is there and ready to be spent. But a lot of that money actually hasn't gone out of the American coffers, especially the humanitarian aid budget. That hasn't really been spent in Ukraine because a lot of the projects that are listed in it, frankly, can't happen until the war is over. So what we're seeing on the humanitarian aid front is that America is content with sending money from USAID to United Nations agencies. A lot of the money that's allocated in those bills also doesn't even touch Ukraine. There are monies specified in both Ukraine aid packages to tend to the World Hunger Project across the entire world. So the countries in Africa that are affected by the fact that grain is stuck in Ukraine's ports, there's money in the Ukraine package that everybody can say is going to Ukraine, but it's not really going to Ukraine. So what can the First Lady do? She can remind the First Lady of the United States, as she did to the Secretary of State, that a lot of the money that has already been allocated should be sent to Ukraine, whether that's humanitarian aid. But first and foremost, we need to speed up the pace of the military transfer to Ukraine, because only until we stop the war, then we can really work on the reconstruction project.
That's very interesting. So the aid is allocated, but it hasn't gotten there. She might want to remind people we need it now, and we don't just need something in writing that says it's coming. I understand that she's going to be visiting other countries in Europe as well. Is she going to ask for more money there, or is it a similar situation? This is still going on. We haven't gotten the thing you promised. Please give it to us.
Right. I think really it's going to be a heart-to-heart conversations that we're going to see from the First Lady. You're definitely going to have the story of that we all saw last Thursday, the little girl with Down syndrome walking down the street in Vinnytsia. All of a sudden, 1 minute she's walking to her therapist, the next minute there is no more little girl. This is a daily reality for Ukrainians, and this is what the First Lady can bring attention to, meaning that yes, we have given aid to Ukraine. Yes, we have stood by Ukraine. But that doesn't mean that any of the citizens in Ukraine are safe on a daily basis, because Russia is able to launch attacks from hundreds of kilometers away, from the Caspian Sea, from across the Black Sea, from areas nowhere near Ukraine. They will just lob rockets into civilian areas of Ukraine. And for the most part, there hasn't been the consequence enough against Russia that they will stop what they're doing. So what the United States can do, what other countries can do, is keep on aiding Ukraine, but also look at different ways of punishing Russia, because it hasn't been punished to its full extent as of yet.
All right, that is Andrei Dobryansky. He's talking about the visit of the First Lady of Ukraine, that is Olena Zelenska, and she will be visiting with the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, besides issues of international importance,
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.